views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Charlie Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche. Kicking off a Black History Month, here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we learn about the volunteer work behind the South Bronx Mutual Aid and all the resources offered to those affected by the pandemic. After, we'll speak to four-time Emmy Award-winning host and executive producer of Bare Feet with Mickela Mallozzi to discuss her two-part special celebrating Carnival in the Guadeloupe Islands. Then we find out about the Bronx Arts Ensemble Winter Concert Series highlighting performances of Bronx Teaching Artists. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight features singer and songwriter Emma Claye, who will tell us about her upcoming projects and perform at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. Let us connect. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So although we're under a new administration, which we're happy about, and we have a COVID-19 vaccine, many people are still in need of resources to survive this pandemic. And our next guest is part of a community organization that joined forces to provide assistance to those that continue to struggle with navigating through the pandemic situation. Joining us to tell us more, we welcome the South Bronx Mutual Aid founder and lead organizer, Ariadna Phillips Santos. Hola.
Hola, hola. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for your commitment to our community. I am so looking forward to diving into this conversation because from what I understand, you're an educator, you're a mom, and you volunteer to provide these mutual aid resources for communities throughout the 5 boroughs, from what I understand as well.
Yeah, we've grown a lot at South Bronx Mutual Aid. We have a lot of friends that do amazing work with us in the Bronx, but also in Uptown Manhattan. And thankfully, a lot of solidarity from our friends that are in Brooklyn, Queens, other parts of Manhattan, and even outside of our 5 boroughs. So we're very lucky that we've built some great friendships and partnerships that have made this work possible.
I really tip my hat to your efforts, because when I Googled it and I saw all the little like notifications, what are they called? Like those little where they're located, in the Google Maps. What is that called?
The pins that show.
The pins, right? Where it shows where you're all right. And so obviously it was really referencing the community refrigerators, but the fact that it's expansive on the scale and it's all being handled voluntarily.
Yes.
It's really impressive. It's really impressive. And I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank
for
you.
Founding it. I know you're not doing it by yourself, and I know that you had to form all these alliances, but from what I gathered in researching myself, it's like a one-stop shop for anybody who is worried about not knowing what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We provide direct support to community fridges with food, but we go a little deeper than that. We have mass distributions where we're handing out clothing, home goods, food as well, but we also try to resource families. So we'll refer them. It could be for legal services, it could be for housing support, eviction defense, it could be for getting them referred for healthcare access and insurance. We do a little bit of everything these days. If there's something that folks need or need a connection to, we just try to make sure as friends and neighbors that we can help them out with that information, or when we can, that solution.
So how long ago did you find this particular sector of the mutual aid?
So I've been familiar with what mutual aid practices are for a long time. My family's from Mexico, and so in Mexico, mutualidades, mutualistas, this has existed as a concept for hundreds of years. There are indigenous communities that have practices, again, since before being noticed by Westerners. So this is not a new concept. Mutual care, ayuda mutua, this is what we do in our communities of color to survive. I think that for me, thinking about it as a formal group, that happened during March. There was a call, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had an organizing call about founding mutual aids in your community. I was on that call, and a number of friends of mine that are also organizers, they founded mutual aids, one in Bushwick, another one in the Eastern Bronx. And so we all talk, and I think that was a lot of the impetus for me in thinking about what I could do in the South Bronx.
And so just to be clear, and so everyone's aware, mutual aid is different from charity because it's collective. It's a collective give and take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's solidarity. So that makes it a bit different than charity. There's no hierarchical structuring in the same way as a charity. The same people that could be volunteering that you see in a mutual aid are the same people that can also be picking up some of those resources for themselves. So we are not above, we're different than anybody else that we're helping. We're neighbors helping neighbors. So if you see one of us handing out food, we also may need food ourselves. If you see us handing out clothing, we may also need clothing ourselves. So the idea is we take care of each other, we take care of us. That's sort of the baseline tenet of what we're doing.
So I also understand that you partner up with restaurants, and you partner up with whatever resources are being requested and or needed. So you're almost acting like a government.
I'll say that we've had to be very creative in just doing direct action and direct connections. Sometimes it's very challenging given the existing structures and given the limitations. For example, there's a big transition in our federal government, and we've seen that there have been a lot of financial cuts that might trickle down in some ways to different types of support, but not everybody's going to qualify for it. Not everybody's going to be able to document for it. And especially during the pandemic, a lot of these offices are closed. You can't physically go to them to get that type of assistance. And just navigating that process can be extraordinarily complex, especially if English is not your first language. So we've tried to cut through all of that and just direct support to folks. And I'd say, thankfully, there are a lot of, like you mentioned, restaurants, other nonprofits, other community partners, other mutual aids, and community fridge organizers that we just kind of banded together and said, well, we're all in this together, so let's figure out ways that we can take care of each other, and with direct action.
Right, and so you just brushed over something that I think is very important for us to just revisit, and that is the fact that you also assist with anyone who has language barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of us in the group, so my first language was Spanish. A lot of us in the group speak multiple languages. So our hope is, like I said, as neighbors and friends, we're providing a different type of care. We're not an 800 number. And like you mentioned, we're not a government office. We're trying to, as best we can, take our time with empathetic listening to hear what people are experiencing and offer comfort and support in that, because there's also the emotional side, right? Like this has been traumatizing for a lot of people. And so we really are trying to be here as friends and neighbors to listen to people's experiences and offer support as a friend would.
Right. And so it isn't solely just the immediate environment. This is a regional movement, right? Although you're representing the South Bronx Mutual Aid, right?
Right. I'd say, so for example, yesterday we were on a national call with community fridge organizers.
Oh, national.
So,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, so there are community fridges all over the country. There is community fridge organizers represented from Canada. We also coordinate and touch base with other mutual aids like There's a mutual aid in Mexico City. There's Ayuda Mutua CDMX. So we really do try to listen to, learn from the experiences of mutual aids, community fridges, and other types of organizers that are doing this, all over. New York City is pretty incredible in the fact that we have now 80 something community fridges and some pretty amazing mutual aids with literally thousands of volunteers. If you look at the Crossborough Mutual Aid Network, there are thousands of volunteers throughout New York City. So we're a pretty sizable network of mutual aids, but that doesn't mean that we can't learn from community fridges and mutual aids all over the country and in different parts of the world. We had an organizer yesterday who was talking on the call about his experiences in Brazil, and there was a lot to be learned from what his experiences are like. So I think that we do try to take with humility and understanding that while we have our experiences here, there's a lot that we can learn from other organizers as well.
Wonderful. It's so wonderful that you've taken the time to commit yourself to serving, right? Because we have to take care of each other. And
it's hard not to as a teacher. That's kind of what we signed up for.
I hear you. I hear you. And I just really, I acknowledge you and thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. And before we go, how can anyone either seek help and or participate with the Bronx Mutual Aid?
Sure. So our Instagram, I'd say, is the best way to get in touch with us. We're South Bronx Mutual Aid on Instagram. There is a link tree in our bio that has a lot of additional resources. So there's a resource page that talks about all of the additional support that we can connect folks to. We post there whenever we have public distributions, and there's also a map of all of the community fridges in New York City. So you go to any community fridge, most of them are 24/7 and outdoors. You can find food, and many of them have pantries and additional dry goods and resources. There are even some with free stores. So we just encourage people to take a look. And if you want to volunteer with us, in that link tree in the bio, there's a link right there to sign up as a volunteer.
Wonderful. Thank you once again, Ariadna. Ariadna Phillips Santos.
Thank you
Gracias.
so much.
All right, you guys, once again, for more on COVID-19 resources and to participate in being part of the mutual aid, visit at South Bronx Mutual Aid on Instagram. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear about a special show celebrating the culture of dance. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Our next guest has been traveling the world and showcasing diverse cultural styles of dance through her show Bare Feet with Mickela Mallozzi. She's a four-time Emmy award-winning host and executive producer. And today she joins us to discuss her two-part Bare Feet special celebrating Carnival in the French Caribbean island of Guadeloupe. Please welcome friend to the show, Mickela Mallozzi.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having me again. I know it's a little different from last time, but I'm so glad that we're together again.
Oh my gosh, we love having you on this show. And I noticed we have the Emmys on display, pero I only see 3. Where's the 4th?
3? Well, I gave one to my mom. I figured I had to thank my parents for everything they've done for me. So one's back home with them and the other 3 are here. They're my little babies. I love them so much.
As they should be on display. Yes. You know, I'm always boasting about you and your 4-time Emmys based on the way you earned them. And and yes, and you continue to forge forward. I know this must have been a really, really challenging year for you because your life consists of traveling. So let's talk about what pivoting looked like for you.
Yeah, so I feel really lucky. You know, it's been hard for everybody, obviously. So I feel really lucky that I've been able to travel to begin with. But what I found I was more grateful was during the pandemic, we had filmed Carnival in the Guadeloupe Islands pre-COVID. And we were going to start filming a whole 12 episode season for season 4. We were so excited. We were going to start filming in May. And obviously we all know what happened. But I thought, oh, we have this amazing footage. And it was just going to be one episode. And then the more we looked at it, it was this beautiful story that we were able to really dive more deeply into, because I thought, let's spread it over 2 episodes. And that's exactly what we did. So Carnival, I thought, oh, this is just a beautiful celebration. The French Caribbean is never really, people don't even know where the Guadeloupe Islands are half the time. They think of Guadeloupe, Mexico. So I thought, oh, this is such a wonderful opportunity. And then the murder of George Floyd happened. We were deciding to release these around April. We're like, okay, we're going to forge forward with these 2 episodes. Then the murder of George Floyd happened. And we thought, wow, we really have to get these out no matter what, because it is stories of Black joy, Black culture, Black music, dance, language, food. It's so important right now. So we thought, let's do this. Let's figure this out. And we're going to release it for Carnival season, which is now. And it coincides with, it also coincides with Black History Month. So we thought this is a beautiful time to share these stories. And Carnival has been canceled around the world. So what we're hoping to do is bring that life and that light to people in their homes when everything, look, we can't travel. We can't go celebrate Carnival right now. We know we will at some point again, but this is our opportunity to remind everybody there is going to be joy again, and this is what it's going to look like, and to show people a different side of the Caribbean. Look, when we're in the Caribbean, people go to resorts, they go to the beach, it's gorgeous. We know all that exists, but what I love about the Caribbean, and you know this, Rhina, you know the Caribbean is like the most beautifully diverse, culturally rich region of the world, at least I think. And we get to show that. So there's just so much I'm so proud of and so grateful that we even have these episodes to bring to the world during a time when we can't travel. And that's been the mission that I've been on for, you know, the past 10 years of making Bare Feet. But these 2 episodes are really close to my heart. So,
well, I want to know what you learned about the island of Guadeloupe, because I too am not very familiar with the Guadeloupe Islands. So I got a glimpse of the beautiful vibrancy, of course, the celebratory ways in which it looks community comes together, and the marching and being on the street together, and so. First and foremost, let's just open up with Carnival and its significance. What does it mean over there?
Freedom. It means freedom. And I think in a lot of Caribbean cultures, Carnival does mean freedom. You go, you know, I've celebrated Carnival and Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, however you want to call it, in a lot of different parts of the world, including Vienna, it's ball season, or would have been ball season right now. In Venice, it's the big masquerade balls. Now in the Caribbean, it was an opportunity for the enslaved people, its roots, to make a mockery of the European sense of dressing up and wearing wigs and doing all these sort of ridiculous things, right? But what's beautiful about it, it is an opportunity to celebrate freedom of their culture, freedom of, again, their music. And what the groups that we met, there are these cultural activist groups that really fought hard for generations, and most recently from the 90s on, to use those rhythms and go into the streets and be able to voice their rhythms and music and dance and language, the Creole language. And it really spawned from the rhythms that were brought out during Carnival. So that's always been super powerful for me, especially in the Guadeloupe Islands. It's about freedom. It's about pride. It's about cultural identity. Another thing that I got to learn, and you'll love this too, Rhina, because I know you do bomba. I love doing bomba.
I know. I saw the drums.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's amazing. But there's a form of dance called guoka, which is really similar to bomba in the sense that the drummer and the dancer have this conversation, and the dancer is leading the conversation. Sound familiar, right? It's very
right, like bomba.
Very much like bomba. Obviously has its African roots. But the thing that's pretty unique about guoka is they have 7 specific rhythms that convey 7 different emotions. And so each rhythm conveys a very specific emotion, whether that's joy and happiness, mourning, hard work in the sugarcane fields. Every single emotion has its own rhythm. So you know exactly what is being sort of conveyed by the rhythm you hear, and then you're sort of drawn to that through the dances. But you would absolutely love it because it is very similar to bomba. It felt very familiar to me since I had done bomba before. Still very new though, you know, and it was just this wonderful school. We went to a place called Académie du Cas, where it's a family-run dance school where they have drumming classes for Gwoka drumming, but also dance classes for Gwoka dance. And Gwoka is considered an intangible heritage by UNESCO. So it is really the cultural identity of the Guadeloupe Islands is Gwoka. It's amazing.
Okay, and so this is so lovely, and I just love what you just shared, because just even mentioning the fact that the dance moves and the sounds represent different emotions, it's like that in essence is the way they would communicate back in the days. And although it's exercised as a celebration, it was really their way of translating news.
Yes.
In a way that other people couldn't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, the Guadeloupe Islands on the French Caribbean were part of the transatlantic slave trade, and that's a huge part of the history. That is why Gwoka, just like bomba, is such an important part of its cultural heritage, because of communication, because of the way to be able to convey emotions and information. And it's really persevered and has been thriving. And like I said, now Creole is an official language in the Guadeloupe Islands. Guadeloupe Islands is officially a region of France. So when you go to the Guadeloupe Islands, they speak French, they're using the euro as their currency, and you are stepping on foot in the European Union in France, which is sort of a crazy idea to think, you know, you're going to the Caribbean and you're in Europe, but it's this beautiful, beautiful place. But yeah, it's that communication. And as you know, Rhina, I use dance to communicate with all cultures. It's sort of my calling card, right? I can't speak every language in the world, but I can try every dance. And it's been a joy and an honor to be able to do that, especially here in the Guadeloupe Islands.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I'm happy that at least, even though you weren't able to physically travel, you can at least provide some sense of travel through this capture that you're going to be sharing with everyone about the Guadeloupe Islands.
Yeah. And last thing, you know, during the pandemic, I had this strong feeling of how can we still stay connected with the world through dance while we can't travel? And we have the power of social media, the power of technology. Look, you and I are on this interview right now. So every week, every Tuesday, since April of 2020, since the pandemic hit, I've been hosting a Bare Feet live series where I bring my friends who are dancers and musicians from around the world, and we do a dance class with them. So every week you can be transported to another place in the world with me live on our Facebook and on our YouTube channels. We've done bomba, we've done Irish step dance in Killarney, Ireland, we've done samba in Rio de Janeiro, we're going to be dancing back in Guadeloupe. So it's really, you know, we're going to get through this, and we're all being very creative in that magic P word, pivot, right? How can we stay connected while we can't travel? So join me on those, but also please check out the new 2-part special, It's My Heart. And I'm so proud of them, and I really hope I did justice for the people of the Guadeloupe Islands.
Wonderful. Thank you. I love all the integrity you come with and everything you do. Thank you for bringing it here to us, Mickela Mallozzi, everyone. Once again, Bare Feet with Mickela Mallozzi, 2-part special of the Guadeloupe Islands will premiere February 3rd on PBS stations in the New York metro area. And for more information, you can visit travelbarefeet.com. All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a concert series highlighting teaching artists from the Bronx. Don't go anywhere.
New Yorkers have mastered existing in crowded places and walking fast. Now is the time to master social distancing. Social distancing means creating more personal space between yourself and others, at least 6 feet. Creating more physical distance protects yourself and other New Yorkers from the spread of coronavirus. To do your part, stay home. Stay connected through calls, texts, and video chats. If you have to go out for essentials like food and medicine, avoid crowds and put space between yourself and other people standing in line. If you go outside, just remember to keep 6 feet of space between yourself and others. This is not just about you. It's also about protecting the most vulnerable and preserving the health of essential workers who are on the front lines. If you're feeling overwhelmed, connect with counselors at NYC Well. Text COVID to 692-692 for real-time updates or visit nyc.gov/coronavirus.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. this winter season, the Bronx Arts Ensemble has been highlighting the resiliency of teaching artists from the Bronx through its winter concert series. The concert highlights performances, but also gives the behind the music component where the teaching artists shed light on the process utilized to create the music. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Bronx Arts Ensemble Artistic Director Judith Insel, along with Bronx Arts Ensemble teaching artist and performer Kika Wright. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Hi, Rhina. It's so good to see you again.
Yes, it's good to see you, and you're still radiating love and vibrancy and still forging forward, being a stand for our artists and performing artists and working artists. So it's just lovely to present Bronx Arts Ensemble every single time, whether it's in studio or virtually through Zoom.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to come back and tell people what we're doing all the time. BronxNet is so welcoming to us.
Yeah, well, you know, here we are, 2021, and well, we're still trying to overcome our current circumstances, and that's me being diplomatic. However, with a smile, you are presenting the reality of what we're dealing with, right? Because this was this took a toll on a lot of artists and teaching artists. So let's talk a little bit about this programming that you've designed that is also going to shed light on Black History Month.
So basically, we are having a series that's shining a light on our wonderful teaching artists. It's called Lunch Concert Learn. It's Thursdays at 1 p.m. and it's online so that people can watch online and get a flavor of what our teaching artist staff is like. They show their talents as teaching artists through a segment that you mentioned before called Behind the Music, where they talk about their process of preparing the music and working with our students in their classrooms. And also they give us a glimpse at themselves as performing artists. So our teaching artists are true artists that create music all the time. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to have them lift up the great music and the great literature of the Black experience during our Black History Month presentations. So the first one is on February 11th, which is featuring Yaya Kamate. He is from the Ivory Coast. He's one of our wonderful teaching artists, and he will be presenting his experience through the African diaspora that he has brought to America as a performing artist and a teaching artist. And then on the second one, on February 18th, we have Kika Wright with Ashley Adams, another one of our fabulous teaching artists, that will be presenting some African American focused material, which the readings that Ashley Adams will be doing are readings by wonderful writers: Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb, which was premiered at the inauguration, and also Langston Hughes, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. These two pieces will be simultaneously presented over the fabulous playing of wonderful Negro spirituals by Kika Wright, who's here with us today.
Yeah, what a wonderful introduction to Kika Wright. So Kika, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to have you. Let's introduce you to our audience because your style of music is unique and the presentation is unique. This fusion that Bronx Arts Ensemble continues to present is really fascinating. So that instrument behind you is called a bassoon, right?
Bassoon, yep.
A bassoon.
Bassoon, yep.
Right. A bassoon, and it's chamber music. So I want to share with our viewers, right? Porque eres Latina, right?
See.
And I'm only saying that because I'm always curious to know how and what drives a person to get into a certain style of music. And that particular instrument is primarily for chamber music. So just share with us how this even came about for you.
Yeah, so I guess I started musical training kind of typically, I think it was 5 when I started piano. And then I went through, and I wasn't great at piano. And then I took clarinet and wasn't great at clarinet either. And then my clarinet teacher had a bassoon, and I was like, wow, this is something else. And so I did what most bassoon players do, which is to follow like a classical music route. And I went to college for music, and then I did some, I did a master's and like some diplomas in classical music. And then after I was like out of school, I was like, what am I supposed to do now? So, I played in orchestras, and, I will just say it, like, the racism that you face in orchestra is like too much for me. And when it was like, I think anyone who is like not a white person probably understands exactly what I mean. And so,
well, no, please share, because we got to keep it real here, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the beauty of what Bronx Arts Ensemble offers is the diversity. And so I think this is an important conversation that needs to be continuously had. Just please share a little bit about because there's something, I know what you're talking about. It's like all of a sudden you're looked at as like, oh, you should feel lucky or something, right? Yeah. As if though it's a privilege for you.
Yeah. So
don't let me put words in your mouth.
But it's not exactly a universal experience. Everybody's probably experienced like micro to macro aggressions. I mean, I played a concert, and the personnel manager was like, you have to do something about your hair because it's too big. And I was like, well, I don't think you're reacting to my hair. I think you're reacting to the fact that I'm going to be the only brown person on the stage. And that is what you think you can get away with saying to me. And so I don't want to have to do that every single time I show up to go to work. I went to the same schools as everybody else. I have like the same prestigious teachers. And it's just like, everybody kind of looks at you with an air of suspicion. And I was like, I can keep doing this and burn out in 15 years, or I can kind of change gears. And so I did go to chamber music because, chamber music, there's no conductor, and you kind of get to pick who you work with. And then I've been with Bronx Arts a little over a year now, but I would say like, I have worked in other other public schools or public schools that have majority Black and Latino populations, and Bronx Arts is definitely a place where the music is like de-stratified. Like acting is not more important than classical music, is not more important than African dance and drumming, is not more important than hip hop and capoeira. And I think that in order for us to have a music audience, have students that want to care about music, we have to make it relevant to them. And so it's hard to go into a classroom of students in the Bronx and be like, hey guys, let me teach you about Mozart. I think today is Mozart's birthday or something. Sorry, Mozart, but it was like, Mozart is an old, quite dead man who is from Europe. And you can draw the connection between Mozart and kids in the Bronx, but it's like a little easier to be like, what do you guys like? What music is important to you? How can we connect like your love of music with something that's like more relevant to your life? No offense, Mozart. I love Mozart, but it's also like, if you go to a school, I'm like the guest in the school. And if I go in the school and I'm like, this is the only way, like Mozart, Bach, Brahms, and if you don't like it, then you just like, there's no place for you in orchestral classical music. It's not sustainable. It's not gonna work. So you have to connect with the kids where they are.
No, I love that. Thank you so much for breaking it down for us.
That was great. I mean,
Rhina, I think about it all the time.
I know.
I think that Kika has made the most amazing representation about our arts education curriculum in the Bronx Arts Ensemble. We are striving to be culturally relevant. We are also trying to be culturally relevant in our programming of our concerts. And so when it came time to put together the programming for our online presence right now, I thought it would it was imperative that we make the effort to have celebration of Black History Month. There was no way that I was going to let this month of February come where we did not acknowledge the people of color that are doing the great work that's happening now, and also looking back to see the accomplishments of what has come before. So it has been my great pleasure to put this programming together.
I can tell. I can
Yeah.
tell you. Everything about what you're saying, like it's radiating the entire screen. And I can't thank you enough for always bringing it to our viewers. That was a really wonderful share. And I really am sorry to say we are out of time, ladies. But I think that what you shared was so important. Not only for our viewers, but mostly for the next generation, to understand that there's a place for you in whatever it is that you choose to do. And the fact that the Bronx Arts Ensemble is accommodating that is what we're all here for, in sharing that there are places that are going to bring you in as you are and accept you as you are and enhance your abilities according to the way that you are bringing it versus molding you into what they want you to be. So, and of course, celebrating our ancestry, which is what we're discussing today.
Yeah.
So once again, ladies, thank you so much. Gika, right, Judith,
Yes,
and so
thank you.
for the conscious programming that you
Thank
continue to
you.
do. Thank you. And you guys, once again, for more on the Winter Concert Series, you can visit BronxArtsEnsemble.org. Don't go anywhere. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
The Bronx Bombers are taking a flyer on starting pitcher Jamison Tyone. The Yankees added another bounce-back candidate to their starting rotation Sunday, acquiring the former Pittsburgh Pirate, once a teammate of staff ace Garrett Cole, for 4 minor league prospects. Here's more from the newest pinstriper.
I'm jumping into a legendary franchise, a legendary organization. I overnight went from a rebuilding organization to a team like the Yankees, where I'm stepping in and, the only thing they care about is to win. So that's kind of lit a fire under me. I'm extremely excited. I've had some time to process it, sleep on it. And I woke up today just so excited to go work out, so excited to throw, so excited to build up for spring training.
Yanks already took a flyer on former Cy Young winner Corey Kluber, who, like Tyone, is also looking to regain form from injury. A lot of risk, but plenty of upside for the new-look Yankee rotation, too. One member of the pitching staff that won't be back is reliever Adam Ottavino, a rare trade between rivals this week. Wanting to slash salary to avoid paying the luxury tax, the Yanks opt to send Ottavino to Boston along with a minor leaguer for a player to be named and cash. The deal should save the team about $9 million and open the door to other moves. We move to the gridiron, where it will be a fresh start for Robert Saleh and Jets fans too. Here's General Manager Joe Douglas on his new head coach's character and the new leading man himself about taking over for Gang Green.
We really canvassed the National Football League, and what kept coming back time and time again was how great of a candidate that Coach Saleh was. And so when we talk about our criteria and what we were looking for in a coach, he checked all those boxes: the integrity, the passion, the ability to connect.
What we do challenge everybody is to really judge us on moving forward. When you look at the plan and what we have in place with regards to scheme, offense, defense, special teams, and the mindset at which we're going to do it, there's an investment that's going to be made to one another. Coaches to players, players to coaches, organization to everybody. And there's an investment that's going to be reciprocated. But understanding that the all gas, no break mentality that we're going to have with how we wake up in the morning, how we rehab, how we prepare for meetings, how we take the practice field, how we're deliberate in everything we do will lead to the results that you'll see on Sunday. It will take time, but everything we do is going to be designed to win championships in the future.
Meanwhile, Championship Sunday lived up to the billing, just not exactly for the Bills. I was correct about one upset, but not entirely correct about both, of course. Buffalo quickly led 9-0, but the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs rallied and will be making their second straight trip to the Super Bowl. The Bills learned the hard way that you must remain aggressive against the Chiefs. The final score, 38-24. Okay, I was wrong about the Bills. Looked promising early, but the Chiefs dominated late. I was right about Mr. Brady, though. The man with 6 NFL titles will become the first quarterback to play a Super Bowl on his team's home field. He owes the Tampa Bay defense that sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times and a curious late call on 4th and goal by the Packers as Brady and the Bucs beat top-seeded Green Bay 31-26 for the NFC title Sunday. There's your Super Bowl matchup in 2 weeks. The NFL will have the Pro Bowl this weekend. On the NBA hardwood, Brooklyn is starting to come together as the Big Three continues to play together. They win Monday night, topping Miami 98-85. The Nets are back in action following Wednesday night's game with Atlanta tonight in OKC. Here's more from the Nets locker room.
We didn't have the best scoring night offensively. Defensively, we just stuck with it, made it very, very difficult for them. They played well that first game, and then tonight we expected that same thing. So we wanted to come out here and just be aggressive on both ends of the floor. Obviously, we didn't, offensively we didn't play well, but defensively I thought we were active out there. We could test the shots and just made things more difficult for them as a team.
It does a lot for us. We rely on, him to make plays for us and just be himself. Whatever the game presents, you got to be prepared for it. And I think tonight he came with that scoring effort late in the game, and he also created stuff for us, from his penetration. So any given night could be anybody, and tonight James was great for us.
As for the Knicks, they host Cleveland tonight and the LA Clippers Sunday at the world's most famous arena, 7:30 p.m. tip tonight and 1 p.m. on Sunday. In college basketball, the Jeff Neubauer era at Rose Hill in the Bronx is over. The Fordham men's basketball coach is leaving effective immediately, says interim athletics director Ed Cull in a statement. Cull says a national search for Neubauer's permanent replacement will begin immediately. The Saturday matchup for the Rams at George Washington is postponed due to a COVID-19 pause for GW. We shift gears from the Atlantic 10 to the MAC Conference, where we caught up with Manhattan head coach Steve Masiello.
We really got kind of canceled twice on the weekend. And the message to our guys was just very simple. The team that stays ready will have a chance to win this thing at the end. And it's all about staying ready. You can't control the uncontrollables, but you can control what you do on a daily basis and your habits. And that's what I asked these guys to kind of step up to.
On the ice, the New York Rangers are coming off a back-to-back against Buffalo and will host the Pittsburgh Penguins Saturday at the Garden. We go back inside the locker room for the latest.
Obviously, you hope that from the minute the season starts, everybody hates losing to the point where they're going to give it their all mentally and physically. We had some chances in the third, but, you can't, you're not going to win games like that. And, we better cure this in a hurry.
Time for some quick hitters. In motorsport, with the recent announcement from Marco Andretti that he will give up his full-time seat to pursue other endeavors in racing, that opened the door for James Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe will return to Andretti Autosport for a full IndyCar season, while Marco has so far only announced the Indy 500 on his IndyCar schedule. Here's James and team owner Michael Andretti.
It's a culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of people, certainly, and I love telling the story. We talked a lot about this last year when we did our 3-race deal. It was 2 months from an Instagram message to signing a deal with Genesis, and for a company to move that quickly on this kind of program was unbelievable.
Yeah, we're really excited. Having Hinch back in the family has been great. He did a few races for us last year, but it was like having him come back home and just gets along with everybody, performs really well, and we're excited to finally get to be able to announce this deal.
The baseball world is mourning the passing of Hall of Famer Hank Aaron. The legendary slugger died at the age of 86 this past week. The former home run king retired as the all-time home run leader and held the record for decades. He's still the all-time leader in RBI and total bases. He also holds the record for the most All-Star games at 25 and the most seasons as an All-Star at 21. The 1957 National League Most Valuable Player Aaron also won 3 Gold Gloves and 2 batting titles. He won the World Series with the 1957 Braves and was inducted into Cooperstown in his first try in 1982. If all that isn't impressive enough, Mr. Aaron is an exemplary human off the field. He overcame racism and became a model of humility and dignity. Rest in power, Hammer and Hank. This week also marks the 1-year anniversary of the tragic passing of LA Lakers legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi in a helicopter accident that took the lives of several others. We'll certainly miss Hank, and we continue to miss Kobe day after day. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a goodbye to Henry Louis Aaron. The most famous night of Hank Aaron's life was April 8th, 1974, when in the 4th inning of the 4th game of the new baseball season, Aaron hit his 715th career home run off Al Downing of the LA Dodgers, breaking Yankee great Babe Ruth's 39-year-old career record. While he should be forever celebrated for that moment and his amazing career on the diamond, I think it should be said again how that moment changed his life, for in it, he found remarkable strength and dignity in fighting the systemic racism that was, and unfortunately today, still remains. In an interview with the New York Times then, Aaron said that historic record breaker turned him off to baseball. Open quote, "It really made me see for the first time a clear picture of what this country is about. My kids had to live like they were in prison because of kidnap threats, and I had to live like a pig in a slaughter camp. I had to duck. I had to go out of the back door of the ballparks. I had to have a police escort with me all the time. I was getting threatening letters every single day. All of these things have put a bad taste in my mouth, and it won't go away. They carved a piece of my heart away." Close quote. Through it all, Aaron persevered, and when he finally surpassed Ruth's mark, he said, open quote, "I don't want them to forget Ruth. I just want them to remember me." Close quote. We will never forget you, Mr. Aaron. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
Welcome back. Our last guest is an actress, singer, and songwriter from New York who's performed in various theatrical productions in addition to television and film. As a singer, she's performed in venues such as the Kennedy Center to Rockwood Music, and today she joins us to discuss her upcoming EP. Please welcome Emma Claye. Hi, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
Lovely background you have there.
Thank you. It's my
Nice
favorite.
It's your favorite. It's beautiful. It's pink. It's vibrant. I love the. Is that stitching that's in the actual backdrop?
No, it's all cloth. It was a gift from my sister when she was in Tanzania, I want to say, I believe.
You can tell it has that authentic, tribal something in it. But thanks for sharing where it's from, and welcome. We are so happy to have you on, and we are so looking forward to sharing your story. I did introduce that you have all these various aspects to your craft, but I did want to open up with the fact that what took me or what made me go, oh, this is so fascinating, is that you actually went to Yale.
Yes, I got my Master's of Public Health from Yale in 2016.
In public health.
Yes.
Okay, so you invested all this time in going to Yale, and then what happened?
And then I worked in the field of public health for about 2.5 years while I was in New York City. And during that time, I was auditioning and like dabbling in the performing arts. And there came a point where I was like, I can't really pursue both of these things anymore. It's too much. So I was like, let me just actually put my energy and focus into this thing that I'm very passionate about. And I left the field to pursue the arts.
And so you've been pursuing the arts, which you have a lovely voice, which you guys, you're going to get a taste of it later, but you got to hold on for that because she does have a very unique voice. But you also just recently landed a commercial during the pandemic, which is awesome. Congratulations. Because what I wanted to talk about was like how this whole shift has impacted your work, but it seems that you got work that is related to the pandemic, which I think is really dope.
Yeah, so as a performer, for all performers right now, work is very, few and far between. And so I'm very, very grateful for the opportunities that I've had doing commercials and smaller theatrical Zoom things. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And also having that background in public health, I'm able to sort of use those skills and, help and do my part as far as fighting this crazy pandemic that we're all dealing with right now.
So in your opinion, do you feel having this pause and the stay-at-home order has benefited you as an artist, even though, as you mentioned, the work is a little fewer and far in between? There's the work aspect of it, and then there's the creating aspect of it, right? And so it becomes a question of, okay, I get that my finances are not at the same scale because I'm not obtaining the same amount of work. And so the revenue generation the generating revenue is limited right now, but has that impacted your craftsmanship or craftswomanship, I should say?
It has. I feel like I've been impacted in both of the ways you just mentioned, as far as, lack of work and financial instability, but also with the fact that I have a lot of time, or had a lot of time earlier on in the pandemic, to sort of just sit and be still and like not have to run around all over the place as New Yorkers typically do. And so I was really grateful for that time to just be able to create and not necessarily feel like I had to produce anything. I was just sort of writing music that felt very honest to myself and very honest to the experience that I was having in the pandemic. And so that for me was very, very, very cathartic, and I'm very grateful for that. And I don't know that I'll ever have that again. So I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, it is very difficult managing sort of the lack of work and not knowing when I will be able to have work consistently as an artist again. So sort of have to balance those two things.
So I'm going to ask you something a little personal. How has that affected you and your mental wellness?
I would say that there have been a few periods that were not very good. They were not very good. I felt like my mental and emotional health definitely took a lot of hits last year. I felt like 2020, just kept dealing the blows left and right. And and as artists, it's extra sensitive, right? Which is why I'm asking this question, because it could either help you or hinder you. Yeah, and it did both. It did both as far as it helped as far as, being inspiration for a lot of music that poured out of me. But it hurt, a lot of periods last year, they were very painful and they were dark and they weren't good. And so mentally and emotionally, it definitely took a toll, but it made me aware of a lot of things that I had to deal with within myself. So I'm grateful for that.
What was it about it that hurt so much? What stands out for you the most in how you were impacted with that sense of like imbalance, right? Because the idea is to balance, because they were both there. It exists for all of us. And it's really a question of like, okay, how do I balance it out? What tipped the scale?
I think for me, the biggest thing was the anxiety that was hindering for me. Like, anxiety is very real. And I felt like COVID anxiety, and like particularly, it just weighed very, very heavy on me. I remember like just like months at a time, just feeling very anxious every single day and not being able to sleep through the night and not being able to function as I normally would, and trying to work through and push through that while also, like I mentioned, trying to write and create music. And so, like I said, the music was sort of therapeutic for me, but that in specific was like very, very hard to deal with.
Well, the beauty is that not only was it therapeutic for you, it's going to be therapeutic for us. And if you would lovingly share what we're about to listen to and how your process was in developing this single that we're about to listen to.
So this single was actually written a few years ago, but being at home a lot, I had a lot of time to sort of like practice it and like perfect myself on like guitar and like with my vocals and like take a little bit more liberty with it and get really, really comfortable. And so this song is called I Imagine Love, and it's essentially about what you imagine that really ideal and loving relationship would be when you find it. And so this is sort of for my single folks out there. And it's called I Imagine Love on all streaming platforms.
Awesome. Woo, thank you. All right, you guys. That was Emma Claye, and we're going to take a quick break. But when we return, Emma Claye is going to perform her latest single, so don't go anywhere. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Here now to perform I Imagine Love. Please welcome Emma Claye.
Imagine love will be sweet. It will be sweet to me. I imagine love will be kind. It would take over my body and mind. I imagine love will be cruel. Cruel to the heart of the lover. 'Cause I never loved a man. I imagine love will be deep. Feel it down deep in my soul. I imagine love will complete. Feeling taking over control. I imagine love would burn, oh, burn through the heart of the lover. 'Cause I never loved a man. You take the pain of the heart that will never know. That's why my weary soul must imagine. I imagine love to last. No more heartbreak from the past. I imagine love to stay. Stay through the blues and grays. 'Cause I never loved a man. No. Oh, 'cause I never loved a man.
All right, now with your sultry voice, Miss Emma Claye, and for all you single people out there interested in hearing some more of her tunes, you can check her out on Instagram at This Is Emma J. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the cablecast tonight, 24 hours a day, on BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide us prosperity and more.